Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people.
Why do you hope that? You hope he gets killed because you don't like him? What? That's yeah. You hope he gets killed because you don't like him? Yeah? Is that what Muslims believe? Oh, well, you're a Muslim, right? And you believe it. Why? Do you think maybe it's a value problem? It seems that way. You're not representing your people very well right now. Yeah, so you want him dead because you don't like him. You want him dead because you don't like him. Yeah, right, yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Get away from me. How many people you got in your ship? 10,000. Yeah, suck my dick. Okay, I'm a liar. Hey, what's that? He said he hopes Jake gets Charlie Kirk. You hope I get Charlie Kirk? Yeah. Say it again. Welcome to Dearborn, guys. Welcome to Dearborn.
So this is Cam Higby. He went to Dearborn, Michigan. And if you don't know what Dearborn, Michigan is, it is a town in Michigan, which is where Detroit is in America. And I think, from what I understand, Henry Ford started a factory there. And his factory brought in a lot of Muslim people from somewhere to make for labor. And the demographic changed overnight to like 30% Muslim. And over the course of however many years, the town became majority Muslim, like over 50%, probably closer to 60 or 70. And now you'll hear like calls to prayer and like other things there. And people are got arrested for passing out Bibles and other things. And now Cam Higby went there with some of the other MAGA folks and Christians. And here's what happened.
I don't want to get close. I can't hear you. I don't want to get close to you. I don't trust you.
We are deep in the thick.
Talking about hanging me now.
We respect your religion. We respect everything, but get the fuck out. Go home.
And also this. So this, he said, they maced me, stole $50 from my wallet, used my phone to film me suffering, and then threw my phone across the street.
Why is he not welcome on a public sidewalk?
Get the camera out of my face. Get that camera out of my face, or else I'll take it from you, okay?
Phone right here. Is this his phone? All right, guys, he just got pepper sprayed for attacking and assaulting someone. No, you're not gonna get your phone. Actually, you get it. Here you go. There we go. Yeah.
Come on in.
No! Disgusting fuck pepper spray. No! I got it.
Flush this out.
Right there.
All right. You're good. Just down.
Deep, guys. As you can see here, this is my jug that was water. We got a bunch of
Must have been editing error. Next up we have, so I'm not exactly sure how it ended up that Cam Higby went to the city council. I guess that he went here to complain.
I'm a journalist.
But I watched this live, and he did come here, and they were sat down for a while listening to everything going on.
I'm a journalist. I'm not a protester. This is my badge. Okay. Today on the streets of Dearborn, I was pepper sprayed, maced by protesters because I asked them simply why they were harassing and touching another individual who had stated repeatedly that he was only on their side of the street to talk to them and have a dialogue. My phone was smashed. You can see the broken camera right there. They stole $50 out of my pocket, and they stole my microphone receiver. I went and I told one of your officers, badge number 3668, that this had happened. He told me there was nothing that could be done about it unless I went to the station. I told him, I can't go to the station. I'm working. I'm doing my job. He said, I'm working too. I said, yeah, and your job is to protect me and all of the people that are out here today. Okay? So we said that I could go into the station later. I told him, you're never going to catch the guy if I go into the station later. He's going to leave. He's dressed head to toe in black bloc. I filmed the whole thing, but he had a mask on his face. You'll never, ever get an opportunity to arrest that person ever again if you don't go and get him right now. He said, sir, I can't leave my post. 5 minutes later, I caught him in the parking lot on a personal phone call. Okay? Repeatedly today, I watched people that are in this room get attacked by other people that are in this room. I watched your officers not respond to those attacks repeatedly. Then I saw somebody who was in this group, which again, I'm a journalist. I'm just documenting what's going on, and I'm here to tell you what's going on. I saw somebody in this group get arrested. I asked the officers, habeas corpus, please articulate probable cause for arresting this person. They refused to. I asked name and badge number. They refused to give me their name and badge number as a member of the press with my badge clearly displayed. They would not tell me why they were arresting this person. They just did it. Okay? Yesterday, I was exploring Dearborn. I came here just to document this from Seattle as a journalist. Okay? I was exploring Dearborn. I walked up and down Michigan Avenue. There wasn't very many people out. Then we wanted to hear the call to prayer that we've heard so much about. So we went to a mosque. And at that mosque, I was followed by a drone. If I moved forward, the drone moved forward. If I went backwards, the drone went backwards. I went to a gas station, and that drone waited outside of the gas station, just above the door, for me to leave so it could begin following me again. I was followed by vehicles, and I was followed by individuals on foot. There was a lot of talk in here today about sexism. So I'd like to quote the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? One of my favorite quotes from the Prophet Muhammad. A woman's testimony is worth half that of a man's due to the deficiency of her mind. God created two sexes, one superior and one inferior. That's why your women wear hijabs, because they're inferior to men. That's why in most Muslim countries, they can't leave their homes without permission of a male guardian. Is my time up?
You have 30 seconds. You had 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
okay, great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I shouldn't feel like a dhimmi in my country. That's what I feel like in Dearborn, Michigan. It doesn't feel like home. I feel like a dhimmi, a second-class citizen, which is what Christians are in the majority of Muslim countries. Dhimmis. Second-class citizens. And the policing in this city, that's exactly what happens. And I know rank-and-file officers in pretty much every city usually want to take care of these problems. You're the one giving the orders, Mr. Mayor. These guys definitely want to do something about them. They're business. Look at them. These guys are all business. Your orders. I'm done.
Thank you.
So that was Cam Higby in Dearborn. I thought that was pretty crazy. You can watch like the whole live stream and all that stuff. That's up online. Pretty crazy. Hopefully something good comes out of it. So next up, this is Mosab Hassan Yousef. So he is the son of one of the leaders of Hamas, but his father ended up trying to kill him because he stopped the terrorist attack from happening. And so he ended up moving to Israel and becoming against Hamas, I guess you would say. Ooh. And so yeah, he said, on ultimate moral narcissism, politicians who pose as saviors for the children of Gaza. Mosab doesn't ask for credentials. He asks, who authorized you to speak on behalf of the Arab children of Gaza? So I'm going to let you listen to it, actually.
Who authorized you to speak on behalf of the Arab children of Gaza? Who authorized you?
You just did.
You never been there. You don't care.
So am I
And
Palestinian
now
or am I
you
not?
think you hold the higher moral ground. You don't.
I do.
You're not the savior. You always need a victim in order to pose as the savior. You're not the savior. First, learn how to control yourself. Learn how to control your tongue buds before you try to control the world. It's a big situation in Gaza. All of us are heartbroken for the death of the children of Gaza. All of us. That includes Israel. Israel considers what's happening in Gaza a tragedy. It's a tragedy made up by the terrorists that you sympathize with, that you want to validate and legitimize. Then we will have to deal with the chaos that you create, your emotional being, going all over the place. Who authorized you to speak on the behalf of the Gaza?
Jake is getting like teary-eyed and everything here.
Nobody did.
You did.
You self-proclaimed, just like Mahmoud Abbas, just like Yasser Arafat, just like all the Palestinians who have been feeding on the pain of the Palestinian children. You are a parasite, a bottom feeder. This is what you are. So before you speak against the prime minister of a democracy and accuse him of being a terrorist, you need to look at yourself in the mirror. You have been supporting Hamas and it's recorded against you for eternity. So don't play the game now that your fight is for the children in Gaza. This is not your fight. You know who's fighting for the children of Gaza? The IDF. That is killing Hamas. That is uprooting Hamas so the children of Gaza can have their freedom after 36 years of slavery. Those are the ones who qualify to speak on the topic, not you sitting in your comfort.
Bam. He just tore Cenk apart. Now, this was posted November 17th. I'm not sure when it happened, but still so true today. Next up, we have the United Nations Security Council approves a U.S.-backed international stabilization force in Gaza. The United Nations Security Council has approved a U.S.-backed plan for a so-called International Stabilization Force in Gaza. On Monday, 13 council members voted in favor of the resolution, while China and Russia abstained, warning the plan excluded Palestinians from meaningful participation and fails to define any clear role for the UN in shaping Gaza's future. Under the plan, soldiers from Arab and Muslim-majority nations would oversee the disarmament of Hamas and other armed Palestinian resistance groups in Gaza. The force would answer to a newly created so-called Board of Peace, chaired by President Trump. Hamas rejected the resolution, saying it imposes an international guardianship mechanism on the Gaza Strip, sidelining the will of the Palestinians. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, praised UN approval of Trump's plan, but called a provision that provides a path to Palestinian statehood unacceptable. On Monday, protesters gathered outside the U.S. mission to the United Nations in Manhattan to reject the resolution. The Palestinian Youth Movement wrote, "We will see through this thinly veiled attempt to strip the Palestinian people of their sovereignty, self-determination, and right of return." That's the word on the street, guys. Tesla's going down, but I don't see how it's going to last if the Palestinians or the Israelis aren't really happy with it. We'll see, though. Trump got something up his sleeve. Next up, we have news from the White House. The Saudi Crown Prince, well, this is not actually from the White House. This is CNN, but this happened at the White House. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman returns to the White House. Trump signals his intent to sell F-35 fighter jets to the kingdom. Historic reset in U.S.-Saudi relations, or a risky bet. Now, normally, I don't like mainstream media, but I think they did a pretty good job at describing what you're seeing happen here, okay, from someone who doesn't know what's going on. So it says from pariah to power player, MBS White House return and F-35 deal.
Mohammed bin Salman at the White House. This is more than a diplomatic visit. It is a statement. For the first time since the 2008 murder of Jamal Khashoggi, which US intelligence concluded MBS likely authorized, the kingdom's de facto ruler returns to Washington. In that sense, the trip is twofold: reconciliation and realignment. The US-Saudi relationship, strained by human rights issues and regional tensions, is being reset. The optics are clear. Riyadh re-enters the Washington corridor.
So I just looked it up. Jamal Khashoggi was a prominent Saudi journalist, author, and government critic who was assassinated in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey on October 2nd, 2018.
As a partner, not a pariah. Yet, beneath the surface lie tensions and questions. How much has really changed? Is this a rehabilitation of MBS or just a strategic convenience? That ambiguity will color much of what follows.
Now, he was in the White House, so I don't know. That must be old footage from before when Trump went and visited him.
Perhaps the most headline-grabbing element of this visit is the announcement by US President Donald Trump that the United States of America intends to sell the advanced F-35 Lightning II fighters to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, no, I am planning on doing that. Yeah. They want to buy. You've been a great ally.
That's a big deal because that would make Saudi have air superiority over their part of the Middle East.
They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s here.
From a purely transactional perspective, it is a big deal. Saudi Arabia reportedly wants up to 48 of these jets. For the US, it deepens defense ties with a major arms client and signals a renewed emphasis on the Gulf amid China's growing presence. For Riyadh, it's about prestige deterrence, especially vis-a-vis Iran, and the sense of being a major global player. But the deal is not without its red flags. US national security officials warn that transferring such advanced tech risks exposure to China, especially given Saudi-China cooperation. Israel remains worried about its qualitative military edge. Until now, it has been the only Middle Eastern country with F-35s. Congressional scrutiny will be heavy, given human rights concerns and the precedents this sets. In short, this is a strategic leap, but also a risk. Beyond fighter jets, this White House visit will likely focus on a trio of converging ambitions: artificial intelligence and investment. Washington sees Riyadh not just as an oil partner, but as a technology and investment node. Civil nuclear cooperation. Saudi Arabia is seeking access to civilian nuclear tech and possibly
This is $12.5 billion in
enrichment capabilities with US involvement.
I'm not sure what that says.
Demoralization with Israel. The US continues to push for Saudi entry into the fold of regional diplomatic change. Riyadh insists that Palestinian statehood progress be part of any deal. Taken together, these are not just arms deals and business investments. They map a new architecture of diplomacy where defense, technology, and geopolitics converge. And Saudi Arabia emerges as more than an oil partner. It becomes a technological and strategic node.
All right, so I'm going to have to look more into that meeting. I did watch the end of it. I didn't see the part where he was talking about the projects that they're going to invest in, but I know that they committed to $1 trillion in investment before. I think. Don't quote me on these numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And then now it's like 6 trillion or something. He just came out of nowhere and said he's going to invest 6 trillion. So yeah, don't quote me on that though. Next up, we have Greg Abbott, who is the governor of Texas, and today designated the Muslim Brotherhood and Council on American Islamic Relations as foreign terrorists and transnational criminal organizations. This bans them from buying or acquiring land in Texas and authorizes the Attorney General to sue to shut them down. Proclamation from the Governor of Texas. Awesome job, Texas Governor. Now, next up, I want to talk a little bit about leftists. So this is an ex-KGB agent, Yuri Bezmenov, and he defected from the KGB and came to the West, and he decided to warn us what the KGB was doing. So he's going to explain what they did in the 60s.
In the United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere.
True, too. And that's what we're seeing today. So next up, we have Mike Baker versus Mike Blumenthal on Trump's strikes in Venezuela. Now, Mike Baker is former CIA operative and host of the President's Daily Brief, a podcast where he tells all the stuff that's going on in the world. I've been listening to him for a couple of years now. He's a friend of Joe Rogan. And he responds to Max Blumenthal, who is a award-winning journalist, worked like for mainstream news. He's like a lefty. And he used to be pretty trustworthy, but I found that lately he's like very pro-Palestinian and very like woke, and I don't know, he just hates Trump, TDS, and all this stuff, right? So of course Trump has him on. Of course Pierce has them on to debate each other. So I actually haven't seen this yet. Usually I would watch this yesterday, but I didn't realize it was out. So I'm going to watch this clip with you guys, and we're going to see what Mike... I feel like Mike is going to tear this guy apart. But we'll see.
So if Donald Trump is going to fall into Marco Rubio's selfish Gusano games, we are going to see another massive wave of migration to the U.S.-Mexico border. And whether you're on the right or the left, you do not want that, and you cannot fall for another WMD series of lies that will produce a Libya in the Western Hemisphere.
You see how many trigger words he just threw into that one sentence? Like, this guy is a shit disturber, I'm telling you.
Okay, Mike Baker, your response to that?
Well, apparently I forgot to wear my tinfoil hat for the panel today. There's nothing I can say that it's going to change Max or Ryan's position. I've talked with folks like this before who, great. I don't know where to go with that. I would say that, from my perspective.
Well, what do you know about what the CIA did?
The problem here is The problem here is, as usual, is
what do you know what the CIA did? He's a CIA operative.
a lack of transparency. And whether it's from the Trump administration or a previous administration, I am a big proponent of transparency here on something like this. This is a serious matter, right? I'm also a big proponent of counter-narcotics operations. I spent a lot of time in the drug wars. And one thing that I think we need to insist on from the current administration is more explanation, right? I'm not comfortable saying with a blanket authority that, yeah, sure, we're going to trust the credibility of the intel on these various targets. I'm not talking about legality. I'm not talking about, I'm not going to go into the things that Max and Ryan are talking about, because from my perspective, that just lends it credibility if I try to refute that. It's like, when was the last time you beat your wife, Senator? So I think, I would argue that there's two things happening here. They're operating on a dual track. They are going after narcotics. This ambassador is absolutely correct. Colombia has already shut down intel sharing. This will have ramifications that I don't think the State Department or the White House understand. And I think at the same time, they are pressuring. There's no doubt about it. Look, are they after regime change? Sure. That should not be a goal here. I think if we can pressure internally the advisors around Maduro to say it's time for you to step down, that would, in fact, I don't know whether Max and Ryan agree with me, but that a change in government in Venezuela, I'm not saying regime change, I'm just saying if Maduro stepped down, that would be a wonderful thing for the Venezuelan people.
He makes a good point, but he didn't really tear Blumenthal apart like I thought he was going to. Next up, we have, this is an older clip about Jordan Peterson, but he's talking about the state of the UK and everything that's happening. This was a couple months ago. So this is not like up to date, but I feel like it applies now more than ever.
I don't know if you guys in the UK understand how sad it is for us in Canada and in the United States to watch what you're doing to yourself. I mean, the UK is a great country. When I go there, I go to Oxford, I go to Cambridge, to these remarkable places in London, see your unbelievable deep history, understand how much the world owes the UK in terms of, say, the establishment of common law and decent government everywhere, including places like India. We owe the UK such an immense debt. And to watch you guys like spiral yourselves into the ground for this idiot, weak political correctness that's gone so far that you can allow your working class women to be raped en masse sadistically and say nothing about it and gaslight people who are telling the truth. It's so sickening. It's so demoralizing. It's almost unspeakable. We all pray, hope and pray here in Canada and the US that you get your act together and grow some spine again and put your damn country back together and stand up to these bloody psychopathic bullies and the woke green mob, because it would be a dreadful shame to lose you.
Facts, Jordan Peterson. And he speaks for, I think, most patriots from America and Canada, especially Canada. I don't know about America, because America kind of hates Britain, but especially Canada. That's how we feel. So I hope you guys work it out. Next up, we have Pierre Poilievre tearing apart Mark Carney, and Mark Carney didn't show up to defend himself, so he gets tore apart even worse.
What are Canadians getting for the 28 trips, 150,000 kilometers, enough to circle the world 4 times that the Prime Minister has billed back to Canadians? Well, he met with the Americans, and they doubled tariffs on our steel, aluminum, autos, and tripled them on our forestry. He met with the Chinese, who increased tariffs on our farmers and fish harvesters. He met with the Indians. They increased tariffs on Canadian peas. He met the Brits, and they're keeping their blockade on our beef. Why is it that whenever the Prime Minister gets on a plane, Canadians end up paying more tariffs abroad?
We have good news for Canadians. Germany just signed a $1 billion deal with Lockheed Martin Canada to support jobs right here in this country. This is what Canadians are getting from the Prime Minister being on the world stage selling what Canada has to offer. It's about unlocking new markets and creating good jobs here in Canada.
The Prime Minister billing millions of dollars for his high-flying trips around the world. 28 trips, 150,000 kilometers. Now is the time for a scorecard. The Americans have increased tariffs on Canadian autos, aluminum, steel, and lumber. The Indians have increased tariff on our peas. The Chinese increased it on our farmers, our fish harvesters. Now, allow me to introduce a comprehensive list of all the tariffs the Prime Minister has successfully had reduced on Canada.
All right. I thought that was funny. Next up, we have the Epstein files. You can see here. Everyone should have seen this coming. The government, here's full transparency. Also, the government. At this point, either release everything or stop wasting everyone's time. Show it or don't bother. Okay, so this was very early, like as soon as it released. But people did pull some things out of it, from what I understand. So this is the Oversight Committee for the GOP. Hakeem has been on a media tour for the last few days on Epstein, but refuses to condemn Stacey Plaskett. Epstein documents reveal that Hakeem's consulting firm reached out to Jeffrey Epstein to arrange a dinner between them. Is Brooklyn's Barack telling us everything he knows? So, dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation. Sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack, he is a staunch supporter of President Obama and a progressive voice for the people of New York City. NY1 did a profile piece about his work on the vitally important budget and judiciary committees in Washington. You can watch the video here or read the text below. Hakeem is committed in electing democracy, blah, blah, blah. This is 2014. Okay. So we know that Jeffrey Epstein at least helped Hakeem Jeffries, maybe gave him some money, something like that, right? And he's been protesting, like he's been campaigning against Epstein and all this stuff, right? So I gotta look up who he is actually. Who is Hakeem Jeffries? Like I know who he is, but I don't know what his position is. So he's a minority leader in the House of Representatives. Whatever that is. I'm Canadian. So I had Grok 4.1 on expert mode, fact check. So first I had to look up everything that we found in Epstein files, the new ones. And then I had it fact check everything it just said to me and then give it a score of how likely it was true. So this is, this just tells you that they released the Epstein files in the Transparency Act in a vote 421 to 1. And they proved it with unanimous consent. This is a bipartisan bill. Blah, blah, blah. This was fact-checked 100%. So this 100% happened yesterday. Obviously, we all know that. However, the release last night likely refers to a fresh tranche of over 20,000 pages from Epstein's estate dropped by the House Oversight Committee on November 12th, with the analysis and selective disclosures peaking November 18th amid the vote. These build on prior to 2025 releases, example, 33,000 pages in September. The documents, emails, texts, financial records, flight logs, a birthday book, and seized digital evidence over 300 gigabytes, including redacted images and videos, revealed Epstein's operations and elite ties. No new criminal charges have stemmed directly from them yet, but they've sparked DOJ probes into figures like Bill Clinton and Larry Summers. So this is about a 9 out of 10 true. Epstein's extensive, it just gives, like, if you want to know here, this just like shows how it's true, how we know it's true. Epstein's extensive references to Trump, over 1,000 mentions. Epstein's emails and notes repeatedly drop Trump more than any other figure, estimated at 1,000 times, double that of others like Bill Clinton. Key excerpts. In one 2002 email, Epstein claims Trump spent hours with an unidentified victim at his Palm Beach home, alleging Trump was aware of the girls in Epstein's circle but did nothing. So this is what I'm thinking of. Actually, I don't know. This might be different because this is 2002. So this is when Trump was still friends with him. I think. I don't know if people knew about Epstein in 2002 yet. I think it was around 2008. So I think anything that happened with him after 2008 is considered sketchy. But Trump being aware of the girls could be considered morally incorrect if he didn't tell anyone in 2002. So a 2011 message to publicist Peggy Segal, Epstein asked her to leverage her ties to media mogul Arianna Huffington to clear his name while mocking Trump as a dog that hasn't barked on the scandal. Coordination with Ghislaine Maxwell, texts show them plotting responses to Virginia Giuffre's lawsuit with Epstein insulting Trump privately as having TDS, Trump deranged syndrome, despite past friendships. Fact check score. So this is only a 7 out of 10. And it's because multiple mentions confirmed by BBC, which could be fake news because BBC says a lot of shit. CNN, a little bit more respectable than BBC, but still says a lot of shit. PBS hates Trump. Trump sued him. NBC, I don't think they like Trump. I'm not really sure. Example, I knew about the girls email, but the 1,000 plus estimate isn't explicitly sourced. Reports say multiple times or specifically referenced. Specific excerpts align closely with released emails. So it's probably true. At least, maybe not everything here is true, but most of this, what I just said, is true. Okay. So fact check score. Denials and Giuffre's non-accusation are consistent across NPR, ABC, and White House responses. So this is 100% true. Trump has denied wrongdoing, calling the docs falsified by Democrats. Victims like Giuffre have not accused him of abuse. White House officials dismissed them as annoying and politically timed. So now we're going to go into the ties with the Democrats and the elites. So Larry Summers posts conviction contacts. Newly unredacted emails show the former Treasury Secretary and Harvard president exchanging messages with Epstein as late as 2018. So he was caught in like 2008 or something. This is 10 years after. After Epstein's 2008 plea deal. Summers apologized for the institutional betrayal but denied knowledge of crimes. Trump ordered a DOJ probe into Summers' links. Fact check, 10 out of 10. Extensively covered by BBC, USA Today, Crimson, CNN, New York Times, Time, CNBC, and AP. Emails confirmed Summers stepping back Harvard probe. Now, Bill Clinton and JP Morgan. Flight logs confirmed 26 plus trips on Epstein's jet post-presidency, so after he was the president. A 2007 letter from the Florida prosecutors details Epstein's sweetheart deal with SAR's suspicious activity reports, flagging $150 million in transfers involving Clinton's associates and JP Morgan executive Jess Stanley. No direct abuse allegations, but Epstein bragged about dirt on Clinton. Fact check score, 26 trips and ties confirmed. So fact check is 9 out of 10, by the way. 26 trips and ties confirmed by older NPR 2024 and recent BBC, ABC, ELPA, NYT, so New York Times, Axios, and 150 plus SARS match, New York Times. Trump probed into Clinton, JP Morgan widely reported, though bragged about dirt is interpretative. Media and Hollywood figures. Emails revealed Epstein's dining with Katie Couric and George Stephanopoulos at his New York City townhouse after his 2008 guilty plea. He sought Huffington's help for PR rehab and name-dropped Peter Thiel. Denied visiting Little St. James and Steve Bannon. Fact check score, 7 out of 10. Post-conviction contacts with elites like Kirk and Stephanopoulos implied in Yahoo Forum's New York Times. But specifics vary. Huffington, Thiel, and Bannon name drops align with broader reports. So operational details and broader network. Trafficking scale. Evidence inventory lists 100 victims across Epstein's properties. New York Times, Palm Beach, Little St. James, Zorro Ranch. Seized data includes masseuse lists, a particular redacted black book with 150 plus contacts. Example, Leon Black, Reed Hoffman, and financials showing 500 million in unexplained wire transfers tied to massages and island visits. Fact check score 6 out of 10. The Black Book and contacts Black and Hoffman confirmed in AOL and Washington Street Journal. So the Black Book and the contacts is real, but 150 plus and 500 million not precisely match. Reports cite hundreds or varying figures. 100 plus victims from past docs. So there's at least 100 plus, but we don't know if there's 1,500. Birthday book and gifts. A 2005 Epstein 50th book with letters from elites. Trump praising him pre-scandal highlights his social camouflage. Fact check score 4 out of 10. Not directly collaborated in recent sources. Older references exist, but no confirmation in 2025 releases. Intelligence angle. Speaker Mike Johnson cited national security concerns or risks, and claiming files include CIA, NSA material on Epstein's alleged blackmail ops. Epstein's brother alleged scrubbing of Republican names at a Virginia facility. Former FBI agents warn of explosive financials implicating banks in enabling the ring. Fact check score 3 out of 10. Mostly conspiracy theories from Business Insider, First Things, Substack, News Nation, VPM, TRT, Amazon Book, Facebook, Newsweek, and ABC. Unsubstantiated claims of spy blackmail and no official confirmation. Not a good look, guys. These files underscore Epstein's role as a connector for power, advising billionaires and leaders even after conviction, while exposing institutional failures. Example, 2008 Florida deal. Survivors like Annie Farmer hailed the vote as ending years of betrayal. On X, reactions exploded. Conspiracy theories about sanctionized trended. Sanitization trended. Hashtag Epstein Files 44 million views, with users like Meet You at Moe's decrying government complicity and Liberty Lockpod mocking flip-flops. Trump supporters frame it as a win for conspiracy. Critics see it delays as protection for the elites. Fact check 8 out of 10. Farmer's past statements align. X trends and user reactions match posts. So this is just going through like if the posts are real. Fact check score 7 out of 10. Table elements drawn from blah blah blah. That's it, guys, for the Epstein files. That's all we know so far. That's all I know anyway. Next up, we have the Reverend Ezekiel Dochomo from Nigeria. He's one of the Christian Nigerians. His plead for help from President Trump went viral, and Piers Morgan actually had him on a show the other day to speak for a little bit. So this is 2 minutes of what he said. You guys should watch this.
I've performed several genocide burial more than 70 times. Imagine some of the graves are 501 people killed in one night in Dogona, Hawa, village named Gemburu. The Nigerian government downplayed that one because the Islamic are controlling the government.
So the Nigerian government, if I may just jump in there, the Nigerian government.
I just wanted to say something real quick because I actually watched this whole thing, and at the beginning, the woman says that normally in Nigeria, because it's 50% Islamic and 48% Christian, they will have either a Christian president or a Christian vice president, and then an Islamic president or an Islamic vice president, depending on who's the president, who's the vice president. And that allows for them to both have a voice in the government. But apparently this current government, the president and the vice president are both Islamic, so it's causing a lot of problems. And the Islamic I'm going to call them radical elements, like the Boko Haram guys, have been doing some horrible things. Like recently, I think yesterday, they went into a schoolhouse and killed the vice principal and stole 25 schoolgirls. So this is like horrifying, actually. It's if it's not genocide, it's probably like something like ethnic cleansing or just even if it's just mass killing, is horrible.
Has vehemently denied there is a genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Further, they say a lot of Muslims have also been killed by the likes of Boko Haram for being too moderate, and that therefore the issue of Islamists killing people is not restricted just to Christians, but also to moderate Muslims. What do you say to that?
So let me give you the background of what happened. This is the background with initial fact finding. They created Boko Haram by many that are in hierarchy of the government to remove good luck, who is a Christian. This is what happened. They steer them. They caused riot every village. And the people run away, they were relocated. And their target is to kill the Christian. Because good luck is a Christian. That's why good luck says, my blood is not worthy for other people to die.
Powerful stuff. And there was a guy on before him denying it was all happening. He was an Islamic Nigerian. So, Justin, Nicki Minaj, speaking at the United Nations, just thanked President Trump for shining a spotlight on killing the Christians in Nigeria.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I would like to thank...
All right, so this is the story I was talking about. So this is a woman, I'm guessing from Nigeria, or someone that's keeping an eye on Nigeria. And she said 25 schoolgirls in Kebbi abducted while at school and their vice principal killed. A whole brigade of Nigerian armed forces killed by an infamous terrorist organization, and life is meant to go on as usual. This is the country you keep claiming is peaceful. And actually, Tommy, just wait now. Hold on, guys. I think I just shared this. I forgot to put it in. Yeah, so I'm going to have to do this story too. So this is actually Tommy brought this up right as I was making this. So we know what kind of people do this. The Nigerian police force said a gang of armed bandits with sophisticated weapons shooting sporadically stormed the government girls' comprehensive secondary school. The gunmen kidnapped 25 girls and killed the vice principal at the school, according to police. Armed gunmen abduct 25 girls from a high school in Nigeria, kill at least one staff member. Nigerian police, military, and local vigilance have launched a rescue operation. So, let's see if I can get this bigger for you. This is what it looked like after. And it doesn't look like it was very nice before either. But anyway, those poor young girls. This is actually in Arabic, I think, or Sanskrit, or whatever it is. He said, today, after visiting several villages in Chai Basa, I met with the families of many victims of the Lathi charge. The government has crossed all limits of cruelty with the adversaries, who were demanding no entry. A Munda from one village was sent to jail along with his entire family. So I'm guessing these are the Muslims, right? The Muslim side of Nigeria. A 15-year-old Advasi child was sent to jail. A pregnant woman in jail suffered a miscarriage. After the entire family was sent to jail, a son from one family died due to lack of care. Due to their mothers being sent to jail, children from many families are wandering around hungry and thirsty. This is not just a crime, but a sin. All Advasis and native inhabitants need to unite against this anti-Advasi government. Wake up, Advasis, wake up, Jharkhand. Maybe this is somewhere else. This must be like Bangladesh or something. Is this, wait, let's ask Grok. Is this from Nigeria? I thought it was. Okay, while Grok's thinking, let's go over what Constantine said. So this is like the asylum hotel. Constantine, and he said this while I was making this, so always read the small print. They aren't removing illegal immigrants. They're putting them onto military bases and allowing them to walk around local towns and communities instead. Brilliant thinking. So Shabuna Mahmood, who's the Home Secretary, said, I will close every single asylum hotel. Sorry, we're closing all asylum hotels. We have already half the number of asylum hotels since its peak in December 2023. We will close every single asylum hotel, moving illegal immigrants into military bases. Okay, let's see what he says. Grok is just got updated, so it's being a little ridiculous. Let's go to Ukraine. So next up we have Ukraine. This is Ternopil, Ukraine this morning. 470 Russian attack drones and 48 Russian missiles. There are 16 confirmed dead and 64 wounded, including 14 children. See the thing about this war, the crazy thing is they're bringing in people from North Korea, they're bringing in people from Iran to help them fight, and sure, they're giving them drones and stuff. Like, they don't even know what they're going to do to these Ukrainians. Like, and the Russians are bad enough, but imagine like people that have no connection with the place whatsoever fighting them, right? So this is going to be bad. I can see it's going to get worse. And then people are going to blame the Russians, and I'm going to say, where did this happen? Sorry, guys. I thought this... Grok told me this was Nigeria. Wait, I got a better idea. Let's just Google search. Indigenous people of the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so this is happening in India. Sorry, guys. I had that mixed up with Nigeria. So, Israeli strikes. We're going to talk about Israel's hitting Lebanon. And so this guy says, Israel acknowledges the airstrikes in southern Lebanon, stating that they targeted a Hamas terrorist training base, including the Ain al-Hilwa refugee camp. The IDF shared drone footage of the strike, admitting to bombing women and children. We're gonna go to the IDF's page in a second. So this is the strike. Get an emergency alert. It's only a test. As we're talking about airstrikes. Kind of freaky. Now, this is someone's firsthand, like they seen it happen from the ground. And he says they're targeting Palestinian refugee camp. IDF says it hit a Hamas training compound. The people are just saying, run around saying Akbar. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous, right? Like their own shit gets blown up and they're like, Akbar, Akbar, and they start running towards it. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Okay, IDF. Let's just look at what IDF said, because I trust them more. The IDF is currently striking several Hezbollah terror infrastructure sites in southern Lebanon. And what I want you to realize is Lebanon has a huge Hezbollah problem. Like, Hezbollah had taken over the whole country, like living in the palace and everything. Eliminated a Hezbollah terrorist at the At-Tiri area of southern Lebanon. The terrorist was involved in efforts to reestablish Hezbollah's readiness in the area. His actions constituted a violation of understandings between Israel and Lebanon. So the Lebanese government probably let this happen because they didn't want them there. And they don't want the trouble from the terrorists. So they eliminated 2 terrorists. Flint Jebel area, terrorists involved in reestablishment activities. Build area terrorist who was observed gathering intelligence on IDF troops was eliminated. There you go, folks. Just war. Christy Lou Stout. As the China-Japan spat over Taiwan escalates, Japan warns citizens in China to avoid crowded areas and step up safety precautions. Taiwan rolls out handbook on how to prepare for natural disasters of Chinese invasion. Disputes have already hammered Japan's tourism and retail stocks, with Chinese visitors vanishing and no bilateral meeting planned at this week's G20 in South Africa to calm the crisis. So this is a CNN reporter talking about.
We have China and Japan. They are locked into this escalating dispute over Taiwan. It's prompted the Chinese government to warn its citizens against traveling in Japan. And now what we have is the governments in Japan and Taiwan are now issuing warnings of their own. And the trigger of this was, of course, those comments by the Japanese Prime Minister to Parliament earlier this month when she was answering a question and said that a Chinese invasion on Taiwan would be an existential threat to Japan and could spark a military response. That infuriated China. China has pushed back, and I want to show you how. Let's bring up this full screen graphic for you. This is how China has responded to those comments by the Japanese Prime Minister. It has done this: conducted Coast Guard patrols near disputed islands. It has also issued that travel warning to citizens against visiting Japan. Hong Kong has also been urging residents to exercise caution. China has also suspended screenings of at least 2 Japanese films in China, and we also know that some Chinese airlines have been offering free refunds to citizens who cancel their flights to or from Japan. And as these tensions continue to deepen, Japan and Taiwan are issuing warnings of their own. We've learned that Japan is now telling its citizens who are residing in China to be careful, to increase caution when outside, to avoid crowded areas. And this week, Taiwan is now...
All right, I think I read the rest of what she said, so... Now let's go over a broad overview of what happens 18 hours ago in the last 24 hours.
The last 24 hours in geopolitics. Poland's government says 2 Ukrainian men who entered from Belarus are suspected of carrying out weekend rail sabotage, with officials alleging Russian intelligence commissioned the attacks and noting the suspects fled back to Belarus afterward. This as Russian forces have advanced in the Zaporizhia region, moving to within a few kilometers of Huliaipol, with Ukrainian analysts describing the situation as increasingly severe and warning of potential encirclement. Petro Poroshenko and Kira Rudik urged replacing Ukraine's government and holding new elections, arguing that a $100 million energy corruption scandal and attempts to curb anti-corruption bodies show the cabinet has lost public trust. Volodymyr Zelensky will travel to Turkey with a US envoy to try to revive negotiations on ending Russia's invasion, while the Kremlin says it will not participate. Philippine forces delivered supplies and new personnel to the Sierra Madre at 2nd Thomas Shoal, despite Chinese Coast Guard ships jamming communications around the area. Japan advised its citizens in China to avoid crowds and stay alert after Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks about a possible military response to a Taiwan crisis triggered sharp Chinese criticism, travel warnings, suspended film releases, and hostility in state media.
Okay, so, and to finish up our show, I thought it would be nice to listen to Joe Rogan talk about the left's policies as one of the most prominent liberal voices in the entire world. So let's listen.
And the fact that these people broke into his house, they were committing a crime in defending his property and maybe his life. He's getting charged with manslaughter. That's ridiculous. This is the problem with liberal politics. And this is where I get really confused because I'm like, I don't know what they're trying to do. But if I was going to try to destroy civilization, that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
I would keep letting violent people out, keep saying it's racist to keep them in jail, keep saying, you know, they're a victim of systematic racism, and just like let the violent people stay being violent. And then when people defend themselves, lock them up, have everybody scared. Like if you wanted to destroy society, you would do it exactly this way. And I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like I understand being a kind, compassionate person doesn't believe in gun violence. Absolutely. But if that's the case, like there's no better deterrent to gun violence than someone who has a gun and you can't get to their house because they'll fucking shoot you. Yeah. Okay? Like that's a really good deterrent. Unless you're going to have police everywhere and you don't.
That's the only deterrent.
So like who's going to protect people from bad people? If you're going to admit that bad people exist, if you want to stop bad people from happening, that's a conversation I'd love to have. That's a real conversation. Like let's figure out how to clean up a lot of these neighborhoods and figure out what's causing all these problems.
So nobody wants to do that, or it would have been done by now at this point. People just want to kind of keep these higher powers. They know what they're doing. It just starts to feel like the experiment, like we're just really seeing the experiment, you know? It's almost like, say you were playing the game Mario or something, and one day Mario, instead of just going this way on the screen, he fucking turns and looks at you, and he's like, I see what you're doing. That's what it feels like we are right now. Like we're looking at the people controlling everything and we're like, oh.
That's all because of the internet, dog.
But it feels like
if it wasn't for the internet, no one would be looking because we wouldn't be getting these conversations.
Right, people would still be disillusioned.
You'd be getting CNN. You'd be getting some horseshit version of what's actually going on. But because of the internet and real independent journalists and people that are breaking things down, you start to go, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Who is doing this? Why are you doing it? Want some coffee, dog?
Can I have some?
Fuck yeah, of course you can.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, man.
I mean, we're the first generation.
Joe definitely has the ADD. Want some coffee, bro?
That has had. Cheers, my brother.
Cheers, man. Good to see you, dude.
See you always.
Really, I'm excited to see you.
I'm excited to see you too, always.
And I'm excited to see you a little clearer than I did.
I don't think you are. I think they got you. I think they're fucking with you, man. I think they're giving you placebos too.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, I think they gave you. Let me take.
Anyway, that's the end of my show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, share, subscribe, and follow, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.